Heyo, what's happening? Wasabi. Reflectors. Salad bowls. Salad bowls. Now these are all pulsy buff reflectors, but the same thing applies regardless of what studio strobe you got. You need the right tool for the right job. These are not that expensive. They're all the same quality manufacturer. They are rather easy to dent. I've got some that I've dented the hell out of, and of course I beat the dents out of, like this one right here. This is a 11-inch long throw reflector, 28 degrees of coverage. This is like sticking a sniper rifle out there. You can bring it way the hell back and really blast the scene. This is great for using 2 or 3 strobes on, say, a football field or inside a gymnasium, and capturing a lot of people specifically. This is effectively, even though it's not a honeycomb, it's effectively like using a honeycomb at longer distance. There's some neat things you can do with this that you can't do with 45 degrees of coverage out of an 8.5-inch reflector. An 8.5 is an 11-inch reflector. Both these are pulsy buff. You can also see the mirroring is a lot more so than the diffused crinkle pattern on the inside of the 8.5-inch reflector. 28 degrees of coverage versus 45 degrees of coverage. Okay, experiment with that. You'll see the major difference between those two. An umbrella reflector. What this does is, and a lot of people I'll see someone setting up a studio strobe, and they've got their standard 8.5 or like their Alien Bees, which is conical reflector, and they're just getting this. They got a huge ass umbrella, but the light is only being blasted in the center portion of the umbrella. It's like, what the hell's the problem? I got this big ass umbrella. It's because you're using this. Even at 45 degrees, this is not wide enough. You need an umbrella reflector. Got your studio strobe here, your umbrella out here. It's dropping the light to every corner of the umbrella. Okay? Difference between here and here. One thing that everybody should have, and these are the most important tools in the world. These are made out of metal. They're basically indestructible. Well, that's actually not the case. They're kind of indestructible. This one's 15 degrees of coverage. This one's 30. Let's see the difference. 30 degrees. Gotta control the light. Now you can take this off of your studio strobe and just blast someone in the face and go wah, and that looks like a snapshot. It's like, well, you got a really expensive camera, a really expensive lens, a really expensive studio strobe, and then you got your reflector on your studio strobe, and you go boom, and you just shotgun someone right in the face. Go. It's like, well, that's properly exposed, but it looks like crap. Yeah. Do you know the reason why? Nah. This is the reason. You got no control of your light. You gotta have these. These are mandatory. These are the Viagra of studio strobes. I mean, you really gotta have a nice set of honeycombs. 15 degrees, 30 degrees, excuse me, on this one. And here's the 15-degree one. Much tighter honeycomb. You got some serious control of your light. Serious. You only want to illuminate someone's features from a certain angle. You only want to illuminate a certain part of someone. Got your reflector on there. I don't care if it's an umbrella. I don't care what you got in the front of this. Unless it's a honeycomb, you're just taking a dump of light on someone. You can meter for someone's nose, for example, and then expose for that. It's like, okay, I spot metered and it doesn't matter. You've just dumped a ton of light on them with no control. It's like, well, my studio strobe is really, really powerful. I got tons of control, I can dial in my modeling light, and I can dial in my power. Well, that's one type of control. That's your power output. But no matter how far down you crank it or how far up you crank it, you've just taken a really professional dump of light on someone. Just, it's like what looks like a snapshot. It's really a high-resolution snapshot. You've got no definition between the specular, no definition between the midtones or the diffuse, and the shadows. You just dumped a bunch of light on them. It's properly exposed, but it kind of looks like that they're melted into the background. You've taken the subject and the background, and you've gone, wah, and they both look kind of like one entity. Definition. Got to give somebody definition. If you don't own these, and you're just smoking crack and you have your head up your ass. If you have a studio strobe, and of course you got a reflector on it, gotta buy a set. It's hard to do like this with only one hand. There we go. Gotta buy a honeycomb. Honeycomb! There are other oddball reflectors in the odd category, and by odd I mean strange and really useful and very neat. They're kind of like this baby, which is adjustable. Wah! You could take 2 Einsteins and crank out like 500 watt seconds. Take a picture of the whole football team. Get back about 80 yards. Get your speed light. I mean your Einstein studio strobes. 50 yards or so away. Then you could blast the whole team. Boom! Bam! Stuff like this pays for itself. Do you know how much group shots pay? They pay a lot. Especially if it's a corporate group shot. You know, you got the whole business in front of the building. You show up with your studio strobe and one of these, and you've got, well, I've got 2 studio strobes, and it's not dark out yet, but I can't get even illumination. You know, I just can't do it with 2 Einsteins and my 8.5-inch reflector. And this is an expensive corporate shot, and I'm charging them $2,000, but I've got this hot spot on either end where my studio strobes are, proximity-wise, but I got this dead spot of underexposure right in the middle of like the corporate shot in front of the building. Pa-da! Ba, 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 la, 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 la. Boom! Boom! I think I made that clear, right? Right. There's an old saying, it goes, right tool for the right job. Yeah, I think that's applicable here. Right tool for the right job. Oh, that makes sense. It makes sense now. Right tool for the right job. So, you can have yourself a nice studio strobe. Most of these are between $30 and $50 a piece. You know, the bigger they are, the more expensive they are. $30, I think this one's $59. They're all really fragile. You could just, like, look at these the wrong way and they'll bend. I bent a lot of them back. I got a huge dent on this one. Dropped it out of the car. I had to hammer it back out. It works just fine. Long throw reflector. Man, what these will do. These will just make your pecker hard when you use one of these. You could bring that studio strobe. You could bring your strobe way the hell back here, and you could blast someone against a wall, isolate them. It's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. When you start talking about light mod devices and you talk about them in terms of how sexy they are, then you've got an issue. Kind of like me. I got issues. You got issues. If you like this video and drop me a buck or two, go tell me to jump off a cliff. Whatever makes you super happy, whatever tickles your pickle, do that. Okay? Bye.